Morning, welcome to my little shoebox. Today I'm going to try and sharpen up an engraving cutter so I can actually engrave this the periphery of this little disc with, I want some relatively fine lines that I can do on my little computer control machine rather than have to do the manual method, which is a bit painful all round. Anyway, we've got to sharpen up the little cutter, and I'll show you the little machine I've made some time ago to actually do that. Okay, this is the little machine. I've got the bench grinder with a diamond little wheel on this end and a normal aluminium oxide one on this one. I've got the platform and the mechanism underneath, so you can have up and a downer, side to side. I've got the side of the wheel set against the side from this surface, so I know it's at right angles. And then I've got this little sort of pivot, really, it's a long pivot mounted on the platform with little clamps underneath, so I can have two clamp it in either bias to the right, or I can undo those, move it across and have this so it's biased to the left, so I can grind on this side of the wheel. At the moment I'm going to grind on that side of the wheel. I've got swinging through an arc with, I don't know whether you can see it, and they probably can't. Anyway, I've got a fixed stop and a moving stop, so I can set those. I've got a graduated threaded rod so that I can move this bar in and out about 20 millimeters, just about. I've got a little clamp so I can lock it from moving axially. And then in this little indexing block, which is not indexing at the moment, I've got that disconnected, I can move that freely about its axis. I've got a system here where I can set stops, so I can move through a part of a circle, not a complete circle, so I can do that. And in here I've got a little bush that's 7.5, don't ask me why, it's 7.5 thousandths offset. I don't know why I made it a weird number like that. But anyway, it's the centre of the axis of this bush is offset 7.5 thousandths of an inch. You would have thought I'd have made it 10 thousandths or 5 thousandths, but no, not 7.5. Anyway, it's okay. I've got my little cutter set up in there, clamped in there, such that when I've got it round this way, and it's just touching the side of that wheel, as I rotate it, it moves the cutter away. So I put the feed on that half of the cutter and cut, so it gradually works its way up to the cutting tool as I keep on making more cuts. Basically I'm giving a small amount of relief under that cutter, under that cutting edge, and we've got it so it comes to a real fine point. Anyway, I'll show you what it's like to use it. It's pretty good actually, it works quite well. Right, to get it going. move it round so it's at the opposite to the cutting edge, undo the clamp and then drop it down, nip that up and then rotate, and it stops just before the cutting edge. Give it another fair or so. I'll just sort of zoom you in, you might be able to see it a bit better then. That seems to be the best I can get with this camera. It won't do it very well. That's the cutter anyway. I think you can just see it a bit. Goes out of focus, you can't get it in focus. Anyway, that seems to be, I've done it correctly. This is a bit more of a closer look at this little head. Now the idea was that it wasn't just made for fitting on this machine. I undo it here and this comes right away and it will go in the milling machine, on the drilling machine, on any of my little grinders and so on. The idea is that you can do drilling, you know, using the index, and I mean that's the real reason for it, the indexing mechanism. So you can go between 1 and 12, which gives me, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. I should have done 24 holes, then I could have done 8 multiples of 8, but to be honest I haven't ever actually needed that, so I'm not worried about it too much. And it works very well. I can I've used it tons on loads and loads of different jobs, and I only need one device to actually do everything I need. On this end here I can take this off. Let's just do that just for a laugh. Take that off of there. That incidentally is the, I've got, what have I got, 2, 4, 6, 8 holes in there and a slot that will enable me to span 2 holes, so I can get every single possible you know, position on a 360, so that's not too bad. Right, let's have a look. I can also put this gear in there. You know, it locks on there somewhere. Does it lock on there somewhere? I don't know. Yeah, how do I get that to, oh yeah, I've got a thread in there so I can hold that in place. And then this goes in here. Take that one out. Take that rod out. And then that goes in there. Don't know whether I can get this in there with the gear teeth on there. Might just do it. Yeah, Go on, get in there, boy. Christ, I don't want to go in there much. Yeah. 3. And then that engages with the teeth. It's a bit tight, wasn't it? Let's just check that you're in view. Let's just move it around a bit. And then I've got this little, you know, this goes on here. There should be a flat on here somewhere. There. I won't do it, but that goes on there, and when it's all on there properly, so I can do the indexing between the two little arms. So then I can use it for very fine indexing and drilling and so on. And if this doesn't work, you know, that the line is not fine enough, which I suspect it won't be, I'm going to have to go back to my mount this on a staking tool which I've made, and then I use this to get the exact scribe marks around the periphery of my little disc. See if I want it. Yeah, you know, I've got one little scratch on there, and then I'd make the other degrees, usually 5-degree increments. And of course, when you've got this set up on the staking tool set up, I can then punch the numbers in exactly correctly. You know, I've tried a million times to stamp numbers onto surfaces so that it's dead right, and there's only one way. You have to have the proper staking tool. The alignment of the punches is all going to be worked out. When you've taken the effort to do it, you can do it nicely. Anyway, that's quite a versatile little lump of metal there, which I'm quite pleased with. However, we've done it. We've sharpened the little cutting tool, but normally I use this just for sharpening you know, standard little drills. Yeah, you know, this size, you know, that type of thing, the smaller sizes, and you just at the right angles and so on, you just do that one, index it round, do the next one, and then you get them nice and true. And that works on the flat system, so you just grind a small flat. Seems to work perfectly okay. So all in all, nice little machine. I got the idea from oh, I think I need his name. I think it's Mr. Cleves or something like that, who was had a very good little book on screw cutting, and he was going on about how to sharpen the screw cutting cutters. And what he did was he had a little plate that went in a little groove, and you put the cutter on there and you worked it around that pivot to grind the sides of the cutting tool. So I thought, oh well, instead of doing that, I tried it. It was perfectly okay, but it was a bit hit and miss. So I thought, oh, I'll have one with the pivots fixed. That seems to work okay. And what I do is I'll take this lump off and then put a cutting block on there. And if it's a small cutter, I've got a little adapter in there, so that will go in there. Is that better? Yeah, got a little adapter in there, and that goes onto there that little plate in there, so this lot comes off, that goes on, and then I do the same sort of swinging motion to grind the cutter. In fact, I'm going to use it to sharpen a small cutter, like a little parting tool that's exactly the correct width, and I'm going to do that on this machine with that block taken off and that other cutting block on there, and sharpen that up. So it wasn't my idea, and I've since realised that this whole principle is available in those a separate little cutting machine that has exactly this sort of thing. I didn't know that at the time, and I was busily working out my own little way of doing it, but in actual fact they're on the market, aren't they? Not something that bolts on there, but a standalone machine. Quite a few of the YouTubers seem to have those machines. Anyway, this is my cheap version, the workers version, and it's perfectly okay. It's probably got a million faults with it, but anyway, it does it okay for me. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.